Have you ever stood at the edge of something new, something you've dreamt about, and suddenly been too afraid to step forward? Not because it was wrong, but because it was real. That was me. My name is Emma. I was 28 when I got married. A quiet girl from Yorkshire. I never chased fairy tales or wrote about love in diaries. But that night, my first night, I realized how little I knew about what love actually felt like. It was the quiet that got me first. After the wedding was over, the handshakes, the forced smiles, the champagne flutes raised too many times, the silence crept in. Everyone had gone. The lights were dim. The house was new. My dress heavy, my lips dry. And my heart? My heart was louder than the clock on the wall. I sat on the bed covered in roses. Yes, actual bloody roses. As if petals could somehow calm a soul that didn't know whether to scream or cry. I didn't know what to do with my hands. They were clasped in my lap, trembling. I didn't dare look up. And then, I heard the door. He walked in, Tom. My husband, my partner, my legal other half, married for, 8 hours now? But to me, he was still a stranger. He didn't say anything at first, just closed the door. Quietly, carefully. And the silence between us felt louder than anything I'd ever heard. Then he sat down beside me. Not close, not too far, just near enough to feel real. And I could smell his aftershave, clean, subtle, like cedar wood and coffee. It should have calmed me, but I was holding my breath. And then, Emma, he said, I know tonight must feel overwhelming, so let's just talk. His voice wasn't deep or dramatic. It was soft, normal, British, slightly northern, like mine. But there was kindness in it, a softness that I hadn't expected. I turned my head, slowly, and looked at him. He was smiling, nervously. His eyes weren't hungry. They were careful, warm, like he was holding something fragile. He offered me a glass of water. I took it. Our fingers brushed. That simple contact, God, it was like a spark ran through me. Not desire, not fear, just life. My cheeks flushed. He chuckled. You all right? I nodded, didn't speak. You don't have to be shy, you know. I'm a bit terrified myself. That made me laugh, just a little, just enough to break the tension. And that laugh, it changed the air. Something softened. We started talking about silly things. How his tie kept twisting wrong all day. How he stepped on his cousin's foot during the group photo. How his mum kept fixing his collar like he was 12 again. He told me how he stood outside the room for a full 5 minutes before knocking. I stared. You were scared? Terrified, he said with a grin. I've never done this before either. That honesty melted something inside me. You know, no one tells you that men can feel nervous too. That it's not just our hearts that pound or our hands that shake. He wasn't performing. He wasn't playing Prince Charming. He was just Tom. Real, awkward, kind. There was a pause. He looked at me, carefully. Can I hold your hand? I nodded. And when he took it, he didn't grip or tug. He held it like it mattered, like I mattered. His thumb moved lightly over the back of my hand. It was the smallest thing, but it was everything. For the first time that night, I felt something I hadn't expected to feel, safe. Then he said something that I still remember word for word. I won't do anything you're not ready for. I'm not here to rush you, Emma. I want you to feel seen, not pressured. And that's when the tears came. Not because I was sad, not even because I was scared anymore. I think it was relief. A release. Because I'd spent years hearing about first nights like they were trials, or jokes, or warnings. Girls whispering about how painful it was, how fast it all moved, how you just close your eyes and hope for it to be over. But here I was, with a man who just wanted to hold my hand. He saw my tears and gently wiped them away. His thumb brushed my cheek with such care, it almost hurt. Not because it was rough, but because I wasn't used to being held like that. Not like an object, but like a person. He leaned in and kissed my forehead. A long, still kiss. It didn't feel sexual. It didn't feel urgent. It felt like being chosen. With care. With presence. With promise. Then he said, "Let tonight be the beginning of something, not a race to something." We lay down beside each other. Fully clothed. No games. No expectations. Just closeness. His arm around my shoulder, my cheek resting just near his collarbone. I could hear his heart, slow, steady. And in that moment I realized I wasn't scared anymore. He kissed my hair, not like in the films, but like he wanted to tell me, "I'm here." He traced my arm with the gentlest fingers. My skin reacted, not with panic, but with peace. And when he leaned in again, asking for nothing, just offering a kiss, I didn't turn away. I let it happen. Because I wanted to. Because I trusted him. And yes, it was slow, a little awkward, a bit clumsy even. But it was beautiful. Not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. That night, we didn't become lovers in the dramatic sense. We became partners. It wasn't fireworks and silk sheets. It was breath and patience. It was kindness, respect. It was love. Now, when I look back, I don't smile because of what happened. I smile because of how it happened. Because it wasn't about bodies. It was about hearts, minds, safety. And I want every woman to know this. Your first night is yours. It should never feel like a test you have to pass. It should never feel like something taken from you. It should feel like a soft beginning, a whisper of what's to come, a chance to be seen. And to every man out there, be gentle, be patient, be the kind of person who lets her breathe. Not because it's your job, but because it's your honor. Because real love begins in silence, with respect, with care. And sometimes with just a simple question. Can I hold your hand? People talk about the morning after like it's something dramatic. But for me, it was quiet. When I opened my eyes, sunlight was streaming through the cream curtains. I could hear birds, actual birds, outside the window. And beside me was him, Tom. Still asleep, still holding my hand. His chest rising and falling, slow and steady. His lips slightly parted. One lock of hair resting across his forehead. And for a moment I just watched him. Not in a romantic, movie kind of way, but like someone trying to understand a painting they've seen 100 times, but never really looked at. I was someone's wife now, and he was mine. And yet, nothing felt forced, nothing felt stolen. Just gentle. He stirred, slowly, and opened his eyes. "Morning," he said, voice groggy, soft. I nodded. "Morning." No grand gestures, no dramatic music. Just two people sharing silence. He reached out, brushed that same lock of hair behind my ear and said, "You okay?" And I was. For the first time in a long, long time, I really was. We stayed like that for a while, not rushing, not filling the space with noise, just being. And then came the awkward bits. Me trying to find the bathroom, figuring out how to remove 27 hairpins without looking like a scarecrow. Him asking if I wanted tea but clearly having no clue how I took it. But even that was sweet. We laughed over burnt toast. He spilled orange juice on his pajama shirt. I couldn't find my toothbrush, so I used my finger and toothpaste like I was camping. But nothing felt wrong. It was warm, unpolished, real. Later that day, his mum dropped by, kind, loud, and full of casseroles. She gave me a hug that lasted just a second too long and said, "You're family now, love. We'll take good care of you." And I believed her. For days after that, we moved like two planets trying to find the same orbit. Not perfect, not always smooth. He left socks everywhere. I used too many spoons for one cup of tea. We bumped into each other in the kitchen like two colleagues awkwardly sharing a break room. But every night he held my hand before bed. Even when nothing else felt right, even when I was cranky, or quiet, or tired, that became our thing. We didn't rush intimacy. We didn't treat it like a checklist. There were nights we just lay there, talking about random things. His favorite cereal as a child, my fear of deep water, the time he got stuck in a lift for 2 hours with a delivery man and ended up becoming mates. Each story built a tiny bridge between us. Until one night, about a week later, he leaned in again. And this time, it was different. Not nervous, not hesitant, just natural. We kissed, longer, deeper. My skin didn't flinch this time. It welcomed him. And when things finally moved forward, it wasn't awkward. It was human. There were giggles, small mistakes, a knee in the wrong place, an elbow bump. But it was beautiful. Because we weren't trying to perform. We were just discovering each other with love, with patience. That night, when I curled into him after, he said softly, "Thank you for trusting me." And I nearly cried again. Because in that moment, I realized how rare it is for someone to treat your trust as a gift, not a right. That became the rhythm of us. Everyday moments, grocery runs, silly debates about which towel is more absorbent, walking home in the rain because we forgot the umbrella. But in every small thing, there was softness. Like the way he'd wait till I was home before starting dinner, even if I was late. Or how he'd warm my side of the bed if I'd gone for a late-night shower. Or the way he'd gently untangle my hair when I got frustrated trying to brush it out. Love wasn't what I expected. It didn't come wrapped in silk or sound like violins. It came in burnt toast, shared glances, quiet apologies, and hands that never stopped holding mine, even when I was being difficult. One night, about a month into our marriage, I got overwhelmed. No reason, really. Just one of those evenings where the world feels too loud and you don't know why you're sad. You just are. I snapped at him. Over nothing. He didn't fight back. He didn't raise his voice. He just looked at me, walked over, and wrapped his arms around me. I didn't even cry. I just stood there, head against his chest, letting his silence hold me. He whispered, "You don't have to explain. I'm here." And that broke something in me. Not in a painful way, but in a way that made space for healing, for softness, for the kind of love that doesn't just exist in fairy tales, but grows in the quiet, in the patience, in the listening. Now, months later, when I look at him brushing his teeth in the mirror with foam on his chin or humming out of tune in the shower, I think to myself, this is love. Not what I imagined at 16, but what I needed at 28. And if you're listening to this, wondering what your first night or first year or first anything will look like, I want you to remember this. Love doesn't have to be loud to be real. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be deep. And you don't have to rush to prove anything. Take your time. Let yourself be known. And to anyone on the other side of that moment, whether you're a man or woman or anyone in between, let your love be gentle. Let it hold, not hurry. Because real connection, it doesn't begin in a bed. It begins in trust, in waiting, in asking softly, "Can I hold your hand?" And then never letting go.